Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back. This is JMike58 and it is week 5 of my NCAA football Dynasty Season 1 with the Texas Longhorns. We just came off of a nice victory against the Kansas State Wildcats, and today it is week 5, as I said, of the season, but it's a bye week, so we don't have a game this week. So just today we're going to be doing the recruiting video for week 5. I'm going to get you up to date. We'll see if we made any progress on the recruiting trail, if anyone's dropped out off of our list, signed elsewhere, signed with us, people ready for visits. We're going to shift around a few points, and we're going to go in at the end of the episode today and add some more guys. As I had mentioned in the last episode, this is the time when we have already zoomed in on who the key 4- and 5-star guys are that we want to grab, the star players that we want to go after and sign that really headline our class. But it's time to really build in the 3-star bread and butter, the meat and potatoes of the team moving forward, the guys that we're going to redshirt and turn into, by their junior, senior year, solid starters that really give this team some depth. So that's going to be the focus today. And to begin with, we don't have a quarterback that we're really coveting in that high 4- and 5-star range, but we do have 3 halfbacks here that really we just can't get out of the way of. These guys want to come to Texas. I'm not really looking for a halfback, but they've seen the success of Jonathan Gray and also freshman Chris Warren. And whenever you tend to have success as a running team, the halfbacks just come to you. And so I'm not having to throw many points at all at these guys. They're just kind of falling at my feet, and I'm just letting it happen so far. And the toughest decision that I really have at this point is, when do I want to schedule visits for these guys? Which guy do I want the most? And which guy do I really need to push towards the end? And the big obstacle that we have with having 3 halfbacks that want to come in, as we don't want to bring them in on the same week, because that's going to create a little bit of an issue. It could create a negative consequence as far as points go. You get a bonus if you bring in a running back, say with an offensive lineman, for a visit on the same week, but you can't duplicate the same position, so we have to spread out those halfbacks, and I've got to be smart about when I bring in, who I bring in for their official visit. And Tim Townsend, on the other hand, at fullback, is a guy at a position that I desperately need in recruiting this year. He's from Harvey, Louisiana, and I'm in a battle with Nebraska and with Michigan here. And I'm going to have to bring him in a little bit sooner than I would like, because it looks like Michigan has already scheduled him for a visit later in the year, which gives them a nice bonus. But it also means that I can throw extra points at him right now, try to get a big lead, and maybe steal him away and get him to commit before he even gets to that point in his season. Let's hope so, because we really need a fullback to fill that recruiting need. And while I don't have a big need at receiver, I do want to keep the talent in state that we've got here. And so at receiver, I'm in a little bit of a battle with Nebraska. And so we're going to fight hard for him to keep him here. And then at tight end is a position that we definitely need to hang on to. And a guy in Alex Carter, we're going to cut him loose after scouting him. He just didn't quite add up to what we were hoping for, but it's always worth a shot. You never know what you're going to find. But with Charlie Butler and also Adam Huffman, I introduced you to both of them last time. As you see, we made some gains on Butler. We threw extra points at him. We're getting some visits scheduled. We're lucky enough here to get Huffman on the calendar first before anybody else. And so instead of pushing him out, though, to Texas Tech, I'm going to try to kind of see if maybe we could get him in before then. Let's go with Oklahoma State. A little bit of a nice bonus going that route. And then Butler, we're going to have him in on week 12 at the same time, which is kind of funny, because you would think there would be a negative consequence of bringing 2 tight ends at the same time, but there's not. Maybe it's because we need more than just one. We need 2, so there's no conflict of interest for playing time there. On the offensive tackle side, trimming that list down as we're just not making progress in enough areas, but with Sam Callahan, we are in a good spot there. We've stretched our lead out on Tulsa. It looks to be just a 2-horse race at this point, and I really, as far as getting a visit in, I probably could get him in a little bit sooner, but there's also a nice bonus for him, along with a couple other guys that are visiting late in the season. So we're going to bring him in against Texas Tech. And then on the offensive guard side, again, not a crucial spot that I have to fill, but as I'd mentioned last episode, I want to get one more guy here if we can, considering the junior and seniors that we have that are going to be leaving in the next couple years. So focusing in on Vincent Sanders here out of Ohio, trying to do to the Buckeye State what Alabama likes to do to us and what Ohio State has no shame in doing from Texas or even from Florida, which is one of our pipeline states, and trying to nab a guy out of Ohio up against Texas A&M. I think we've got a decent shot. I don't believe that's a pipeline state for the Aggies, so I believe as far as points go, we have a good shot of making up some ground there. And same thing here with Kyle Franz at center. Again, we're in a good position on a guy that's a 4 or 5 star. Why wouldn't we go after him just to try to continue to maintain the depth, the stellar quality, and we can get him in as well on a week where we can boost another halfback's rating. So it enhances, it creates a bit of synergy with the visit by bringing him in at that time. And so on the offensive side, we're looking good with some key guys here. Defensively, just haven't been able to find a defensive end that has a lot of interest in Texas right now. That's in that higher recruit range. And on the D-tackle side, there's a few guys that we're going to just trim away again. I believe the computer had added a few of these, and I had to change a setting so that it wouldn't automatically keep tallying up guys for me even after I'd already set the rosters for recruiting. So I've made that adjustment to make sure it doesn't happen again. And I'm really just trying to focus on Daniels here, the 71 overall rated defensive tackle out of Oklahoma. He's my big out-of-state grab here that I want to steal away from the Sooners. He's ready to take a visit, and I could probably get him in sooner just because of the large margin that I have in recruiting. I could probably get a commitment out of him, but we're going to push him out to Texas Tech as well and focus on going after some other guys before then with points. And Jason Davis, on the other hand, my coveted middle linebacker recruit out of Ohio that I'm trying to nab away. I really am hoping that I can stay close and that nobody gets him too excited because he's not coming in until the very last game of the year against Tech. Derrick Johnson, another outstanding corner that I've really got my eyes set on. Creeping out to a decent lead there, nothing too fantastic to really stretch things out, but he is ready to come for a visit. I do expect that one to stay fairly tight, and so I don't really see him getting swayed heavily week by week, so I think it's going to be beneficial to hold off until the end. And then as far as kickers and punters go, neither one of those positions has a guy that's quite ready to schedule a visit just yet. It looks like next week is going to be the time to do that in week 6 when we take on Iowa State. And so we'll just look forward to that. Again, not a huge deal on the special teams side of things, but you always want good players. Still looking solid here from our athletes. Adrian Anderson, just a stud. If you remember, we went over his attributes last time. The guy can play quarterback. He could be a receiver. He could be a safety. He could be a cornerback. So a lot of versatility there, a true definition of an athlete. And so we've got 17 guys. But pay attention because, like I told you before, this right here is where you win, in my opinion, in recruiting. It's important to get those big name guys off of the top 100, top 200 list, but this, I believe, is where you build a dynasty. It's in this. When you go in and you search for, after you've focused in on some key guys, you look for some 3-star guys that are interested in your school. So we're going to find out who's a 3-star guy. Not long into the process yet. They've got Texas towards the top of their list, and they really just haven't had a lot of attention yet. And so we're going to pick off a few guys here, and we're going to scout them, and then we're going to see, is this someone that we want to throw some points at going into the rest of the recruiting season here during the current 2015 year. And so found 7 guys, and I'm just going to go through each of these guys. We're going to scout them, going to see if they're worth spending our time with or if we just want to cut them loose. And there could be freshmen, there could be JUCO players, it doesn't matter. We're just looking for quality depth that we can add and some maybe surprising gems or maybe some busts that we want to avoid. And there you go, Keith Carr, a wide receiver. Look at that, a 76 overall. Never would have expected that. Never would have went after him if I wasn't just kind of mining through, looking for a couple of solid names. solid guys that are overlooked. These are the types of teams that even if you don't have a Texas, if you're running with a 3-star program, those are the types of players that you really have to be smart and strategic about finding. And so we've combed through, found some decent guys that we want to continue to go after at outside linebacker with Will Thompson there, and then a couple of corners, Joe Holt among the two. And so I'm feeling great about where we're at right now. We've got another week of recruiting, and then Iowa State coming up in week 6. Check back soon for the next episode, and as always, thanks for joining me.